So my name's Thomas Day. I'm project director at a company called Screen Pages. We're an English company that build e-commerce websites on a platform called Magento. So there'll be some references to that platform, which is actually something that Paul will talk about in more detail in a bit. So let's start. So a little bit of background about Screen Pages, so you sort of know how we know what we know. We as a company are involved from the sort of design, build, hosting, support, maintenance, ongoing changes for client websites. We are briefly sort of what we call a full-service Magento agency, so we do everything around sort of the e-commerce side. We don't do sort of things like payments, but we integrate those services for our customers. And the majority of our customers, I suppose, are what you'd call niche brands. So they're not Tesco's or Asda, they are people selling a particular type of branded product that's their own, they make, they sell, they market. So we have a sort of fairly good understanding of, I would imagine, a lot of the retailers in the room today. The contact details you'll see on here are not actually me. They're our managing director who will be happy to answer any questions you have after today, but if you have any questions later, then come grab me. So Screen Pages has been going for about 16 years. It's normally 15, but I did this presentation a while ago. In that time, we've built around, or slightly over 300 e-commerce websites for people. We've done now about 70 Magento projects, so that's in the last sort of 4 years since the Magento platform became popular in the United Kingdom. And Magento is all we do, e-commerce is all we do. So although we do some sort of tie-in services for blogging for our customers, it's in support of e-commerce. So we have a sort of big customer base from which we can pull. And there are some sort of examples of the sites that we've done. There's a full portfolio on our website, if anyone would like to have more of a look. So if I could just ask a couple of questions about the room. Who here at the moment has a retail website, an e-commerce website? Anyone? So a few people. That's fine. Big, small, less than $1 million turnover, I'm guessing? Sure. So, for the moment anyway, it'll be way above that soon. So, sort of to put it in perspective, a lot of the clients that we have already sort of had an e-commerce website in the past, or they've been selling through another channel like eBay, Amazon, Marketplace that sort of Vinny was talking about. So they've proven that there's a demand for their products, and now they're looking to sort of take it to the next level. So a lot of what I'm going to cover today will make more sense once you've actually got a website, and it's about taking it from those first sort of few customers, few orders, and how you go about measuring and growing that business online. So the agenda's broken down into roughly 5 steps. Getting new customers, how to get them to stay on the website, how to get them to buy your products, making it easy for them to buy your products, and then how to get them to come back. Because as Vinny was mentioning, the lifetime value of a customer is more important than their first time value. If you can get them hooked as a customer, then they'll keep coming back, and that's how businesses grow. Unfortunately, there's no magic bullet. It does take a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of constant management and maintenance of a site. You have to continually challenge things that work well. Last Christmas, as everyone's going to say today, technology and particularly internet technology moves on very, very quickly, and you have to be willing to keep up with those changes. Otherwise, you end up getting left behind. So the first thing that you have to know is that you can't do this on gut feeling. Analytics is a very important part of any e-commerce operation, and that's whether you're using something free like Google Analytics. It's measuring what happened on the site last week, I've made a change, what's happening on the site this week. So it allows you to look at the massive customers you're getting and take all the emotion out of it. You can look at whether a decision was good. Some decisions you make might be bad, but you can undo them and you can try something else. As long as you're paying attention to those analytics, that'll sort of help you continue to grow the business in the right direction. There are a couple of different ways of doing that. So obviously Google Analytics is the sort of the bare numbers, but there's a couple that are sort of more friendly. So one of them is surveys. So getting your customers, either while they're on the site or after they shopped on your site, to tell you what they thought of it. And again, you use that as an ongoing set of metrics to judge how successful you make, or how successful the changes you make to the website are. So customers are loving the site before you make a change and they hate it afterwards, undo it, try something different. But if you're constantly measuring that, you're going to anticipate problems before they become too big, and you won't let them sort of languish on the site. And the final one is usability studies, and I'll sort of come on to a bit more detail of that in a minute. So this, well, for people who aren't familiar with Google Analytics, and I'm sure once you launch your retail site you will be, this is sort of one of the tools that you can use to measure. So this is showing how people move through your site, in this particular option, in this particular case, the checkout process. So at each stage of the checkout process where I'm gathering more detail from the customer, where are they going? And this allows me to pick out things that they might not like. I might not offer the delivery option they want, it might be too expensive, they may not deliver to where I am in the world. But this is the sort of thing that you can look at on a monthly, weekly, daily basis and just judge and track the performance of the website. Usability studies is a great way of looking at things from a sort of more detailed point of view. So analytics and surveys are good for sort of ongoing sort of change measurement. Usability studies, it's £50 worth of dynamite because these are sort of in the norm. People think they're quite expensive. Actually, you can do them very cheaply. So if you're looking at launching a new website, you can go to what users do. You can pay something like £30, I think, and get someone to do a 15-minute recording of using your website. So you give them a task, go on, find this product, or buy something for your 4-year-old nephew. And they will sit there and they will record what they're doing on the screen, and they will record how easy it is to use, and it's brilliant. You'll get so much useful feedback. Do that every once in a while just to check that things you're doing online continue to make sense. And again, you'll be able to pick up problems even necessarily before they hit the site. This is something you could do while you're developing your first website and just see whether people like it. The other one is Attention Wizard. I don't know how many of you are familiar with sort of eye tracking software, but in sort of very complex analytics studies, you get people sort of tracking the visitor's eyes as they move around the screen to see what they look at, so you can put your best-selling products in the right place. Attention Wizard, I think it's about £20, sort of simulates that. So it attempts to work out from the colours on the website what people are going to look at. And it allows you to place your most compelling offers, most compelling products in the right sort of place. Surveys, as I said, are a great way of gathering feedback from your customers, sort of usable, actionable feedback. So rather than sort of surveys that hit the customer in the face as they land on the site, they may be the first time that customer's ever come to your business, they may know not anything about you. The way we recommend our customers to do it is to add a survey to the end of the checkout process. So customers who've gone through the effort of buying, they found what they want on your site, happy with your delivery costs, options, how long it's going to take to get to you, right at the point where they've sort of committed the order, they're motivated, they're excited because they're going to get their order, hit them with 2 very simple questions. A 1 to 10 score of how easy they found it to use the site, and a text box. And something in the region of sort of 30 to 40% of people will fill out that. And it's great, it's fresh in their minds, it's usable feedback that you can, again, monitor on an ongoing basis and use to sort of inform the next set of changes on your site. SurveyMonkey do a free package, so it's no cost to integrate onto to your website. Getting new customers, so these are the sort of things that you can do to get new customers. Obviously this kind of depends on you having a website already. There are things like search engine optimization, so having content on your website that people searching for products that they want in Google. So they may not necessarily know you by brand, but they know what sort of product you want. So making sure that there's the correct sort of type of content on your website to get those customers in. Pay-per-click is sort of paying for the Google AdWords advertising, and if you're just starting out, it's a great way to get sort of people onto the site, getting some traffic in. Direct is sort of people who already know you, so in this case it might be latent demand from some of your customers saying, where are they, why haven't they got a website, I want to order online, I don't want to have to go to the shop. So those would be people who already know you, know your brand, and are looking to buy online. Referrals from other websites that link in, and affiliates is something you probably get onto in the future. It's a sort of way of marketing your products globally around the internet. And then we've got a couple here, refer a friend. So getting your existing customers to refer their friends to you, either giving them a small reward or, things like that can be a useful way. Catalogs and lists and sort of offline marketing. So the more traditional, I suppose, non-e-commerce can work very well in support of an e-commerce operation. They can get your name out there, you can get people excited about your products, and then give them an easy way to buy when they can do it whenever they like. So this is some sort of aggregated statistics across our clients. This is from about 40 or 50 e-commerce websites selling a wide variety of things. They don't all sell clothes, some of them sell printer supplies, some of them sell chocolates, some of them sell clothes, admittedly. But it shows you the typical sort of breakdown of where that traffic comes from. So I won't go through all these numbers. The important ones to look at are sort of the left-hand column, so the percentage of visitors. And it shows you the sort of split between the two numbers to really pay attention to are know us at the bottom. So know us is people who know your brand already. They either know your URL because they've seen it on some sort of printed advertising, they know your brand name and are searching for that in Google. But that means that 56%, if my maths holds up, is people who don't know you, and they're just looking for the products that you happen to sell. So, and what's important to note is that they convert at different rates. So Vinny mentioned conversion ratio, which is the number of people who come to your website versus the number of people who order. And it's a crude metric, as Vinny said, that you can use to measure how effective your website is at getting those customers to buy. The number, 3% again is sort of the top end of the industry average, but the important thing to recognise from the right-hand column is that those numbers change depending on what type of customer they are. So email traffic, which is emailing out to your existing customers, they've purchased from you or they've expressed an interest in your products. They already like you as a brand, presumably, because they're on that email list, but they convert very well. Something like referrals, where a person happens to have seen your link on another website, are obviously people that don't know you because they would come straight to you. So they convert at different rates. And you can break this down in Google Analytics and other analytics packages to try and understand how the different types of marketing you're doing are actually performing. A few tips on SEO. So again, SEO is about having content that people are looking for externally built into your website. So there are things like, look at how people who don't know your product range would refer to it. So you may call something a tee if you're a fashion company, but people will probably be searching for t-shirt. You may call that particular colour in your business rouge because it is slightly nicer, but people will probably be searching for red. So it's about having the content on your website that people are actually going to be looking for in Google, Yahoo and other major search engines, because that's how they will be matched to pages on your website. And that, in sort of descending order of importance, the most sort of important thing to pay attention to is things like the page titles. So if you can get those full of the keywords that people are going to look for when they're looking for your products, that's best. Other places, because that's also what they'll see in Google as the result title. The general copy on the site, so your product description or the description of the category or the description of the products. A sitemap is something of a sort of slightly more technical nature where you basically give search engines a list of all the pages on your website, making sure content's in there. And then finally metadata, which is sort of things hidden behind the web page that describe it. Fundamentally, as you see the bottom underlined item, the main sort of judge of SEO performance and whether you are ranked higher than one of your competitor sites is about the number of links that you have into your website. So Google has a complex and ever-changing series of algorithms by which it scores one website with the term red t-shirt on it relative to another. But at the moment, the important thing seems to be about inbound links. And if you think about it, it's how, if a lot of people link to your website, it must be a good source of information for whatever they're linking to you about. So the more of those you can get, generally the better you will do in search engines. It's quite a complicated thing. I think there's a sort of 60-70 page list, or 60-70 tip list of how to get link building started. If you Google link building screen pages, there's an article on our blog that contains some tips. So the most important thing I would say if you are launching a new website is getting the content of your website into Google, because that is where the vast majority of people search, or they start their search for products. Even if they know you, people to a certain extent are lazy and they'll just search in Google for your brand name and then end up at your website. But if you're not in Google, you're missing all that traffic. There are a couple of different ways of doing that. The top one is a sitemap, as I said, and it's something most e-commerce platforms should be able to create for you. So just get it in there, get it switched on, that's no problem. The second one is slightly more complicated. This is if you are familiar with Google. It works with the other search engines as well, but if you are typing in something that it recognises as a product name, it will pull up shopping results. And that's, again, free to be included with, but it takes a little bit more setup, is a little bit more complex. So that might be something to look at in the future.